Hey everyone, I'm OG and this is Old Guy Gaming. My son watched my first YouTube video and was like, Dad, you suck at COD. He's probably right. So I decided to try Dead Island 2. This one's currently free for PS Premium members, but it is leaving Premium in just a few days. So should you give it a shot before it leaves and at least try it before you'd have to buy it? Let's find out. First play session, first impressions, and let's go. Dead Island 2 is a first person action RPG. It's set in a semi open world version of a zombie infested Los Angeles. It's a single player game, but you can also play co op with up to 3 players online, with the focus of the game being on exploring, upgrading your character and weapons, and finding increasingly ridiculous ways to kill zombies. Dead Island 2 doesn't waste any time getting things started. There's a zombie outbreak in LA, you're trying to get the hell out, your evacuation flight goes down, and before long, you're knee deep in zombie guts. But before any of that, you have to pick your character. There are 6 different Slayers to choose from, each with different strengths, weaknesses, and abilities that lean toward different playstyles. I went with Ryan. He's a firefighter. He's kind of just a dude with a pretty dry, sarcastic sense of humor. He seemed cool, but honestly, I wasn't picking my character based on who had the most interesting personality. I was looking at the stats and abilities and thinking, which one of these fits how I want to play the game. After the plane crash, Ryan eventually makes his way to actress Emma Jaunt's house, where a small group of survivors has taken shelter. Along the way, of course I got bit, and apparently I'm special because instead of becoming a zombie, big surprise.
You do. I'm immune!
From there, the story gave me a reason to leave the safety of Emma's house and start making my way through LA to look for help. And that's basically where my first session took me. I played through the opening, did one of the side quests over at Curtis's house, and eventually made it to the Helper Inn Hotel. As for the story itself, it works. There's nothing here so far that had me dying to know what happens next. The characters aren't especially deep, and most of my interactions felt more direction driven than relationship driven. You know, Emma needs help. Sam knows his way around weapons, and apparently he's survived a zombie outbreak before. Carlos gives you somewhere to buy, sell, and trade. Michael is, well, Michael's kind of a pansy. And the story actually works because Dead Island 2 knows what kind of game it is, and it doesn't apologize for it. Like a fat kid who knows he needs to be funny to get the hot chick, Dead Island 2 leans into zombie bashing. The humor, the ridiculous violence, and characters all fit together. It's not trying to win an Oscar, but it's also not Crackoon. And yes, that's a real movie. It's on Prime. Go watch it and tell me you don't end up watching the whole damn thing in the comments. Anyways, the story gave me enough reason to keep moving, but the story wasn't really what made me want to keep playing. I was way more interested in what kind of zombies I was going to run into, what ridiculous weapons I was going to find or make, and most importantly, how many different ways is this game going to let me kill shit? And that's where Dead Island 2 started to get a lot more interesting. I'm giving Dead Island 2 3 out of 5 stars for story because I like that for the most part, it knows exactly what kind of game it is. Notice I said for the most part. More on that and maybe yet another crafting rant coming up. So Dead Island 2 gives you quite a few ways to progress your character, all based around how you want to kill zombies. And for me, the 2 things that immediately stood out were weapons and skill cards. Because let's be honest, this game is about killing shit. And these are basically your how do I want to kill shit systems. The weapons start out pretty basic. I went from beating zombies with pieces of timber, pipes, wrenches, pretty much whatever I could get my hands on, to things like meat cleavers, knives, and machetes. But there's more going on than just picking up whatever looks the coolest. Weapons come in different rarities. There's common, uncommon, rare, superior, and legendary. Common weapons are basically your entry level shit. You can't modify the common weapons, but once you get into better weapons, you can start adding mods and perks. Mods can change the type of damage that your weapon does, and perks give you some extra bonuses. And the better the weapon, the more you can do with it. Each weapon also has its own stats, things like damage, force, speed, and durability. So what you're carrying actually matters beyond, hey, this one's a stick and this one's a machete. Weapons also have their own level. As I leveled up, I started finding higher level weapons with better stats, but if I had an older weapon that I really liked, I didn't necessarily want to have to throw it away. No worries. At the workbench, there's a match level option that brings that weapon up to the current level, so it increases the stats and keeps it useful, but that match level will cost you some cash to use it. There's also blueprints, which you find throughout the world that can unlock new mods that you can apply to weapons that are compatible. Now this is where shit really starts to get interesting. I added an electric mod to one of my weapons, and suddenly I wasn't just hitting one zombie. I would hit that zombie, electrify it, and now it would electrify any zombies that it came in contact with. And if there's water involved, things got really fucking interesting. And remember, this is just my first play session, so there's weapon rarities I haven't reached yet, blueprints I haven't found, mods I haven't unlocked, and weapons I haven't even seen yet. So when I started wondering if the combat might eventually become whacking zombies with different color whackers, this was one of the systems that made me think, okay, maybe it's not just what I'm hitting them with, maybe it's what I can make that weapon do. Instead of a traditional skill tree, Dead Island 2 uses skill cards to customize how your character plays. There's 4 categories: abilities, survivor, slayer, and Newman. Abilities are the moves that you can actually use in combat. Things like dodge, block, and different attacks. Survivor cards are more about keeping your ass alive and giving you bonuses for things like successfully dodging or blocking. Slayer cards are more about your offensive abilities and different ways to make you better at killing zombies. In Newman, I haven't even unlocked it yet, so we'll worry about that if I get there. I only unlocked a handful of skill cards during my first play session, but a couple of those are already making a difference in how I played. The dropkick has become like my go-to move, and I had another card that triggered an explosion when I used a medkit. That one actually saved my ass a couple of times when I was surrounded, and that's what I liked about the skill cards so far. They weren't just numbers going up on a stat card, I could actually see them changing what I was doing in combat. I'm still really early into the system, but I just really like the weapon mods and want to see what else I'm going to unlock. So on top of the weapons and abilities, there's also challenges that you discover as you play. Challenges are basically objectives for doing different things throughout the game. Killing zombies in certain ways, using different weapons, exploring, collecting things, and just progressing through the game. The game keeps track of your progress towards the challenges, and completing them just gives you another layer of progression and rewards for things that you're probably doing anyway. And then there's some cosmetic customization too. I think I unlocked one outfit. Cool. But I really don't give a shit about what shirt Ryan's wearing. Give me another way to kill a zombie. Now, Dead Island 2 does try and give you some options besides simply walking up to everything and beating it to death. You can use things like water, electricity, gas, explosives, and baits to set up traps or try and gather zombies together to try and take them out in mass quantities. I actually like this. It added a little strategy and helped break up some of the whack a zombie repetition. The problem was, I wasn't very good at remembering they were there. There were multiple times that I'd get into a fight, kill the zombies, look around after, and realize, oh, that's what I was supposed to do. I'd already killed everybody, and then I'm over there pouring water on the ground or dumping gas everywhere like, well, This would have been fucking useful 30 seconds ago. And that's probably more of a me problem than a Dead Island 2 problem. Dead Island 2 gave me strategy, and in typical OG fashion, I chose violence first and thinking second. But sometimes the environmental stuff did feel a little forced. Like, oh, here's a generator. Gee, I wonder if there's a battery conveniently sitting somewhere nearby. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. And sure enough, there's the battery. It's fun, and I like the game trying to get me to think about how I kill the zombies instead of just what I'm hitting them with. I'm just not sure we're exactly simulating the struggle for survival here. Now, throughout the game, there's also journals, clues, lock boxes, and other collectibles scattered around to give you a reason to actually look around instead of just following the objective marker. And some of them definitely served a purpose. In one part, I needed a security code to open a gate. I had already picked up that collectible that had the code on it. That's cool. Gate opens. It rewarded me for actually searching the environment and paying attention to what I picked up, and I did discover some other things that I just haven't been able to do anything with yet. There was a lockbox that required a landscaper's key, which I never found, and I saw a safe inside of Curtis's house, which I'm sure you can open. So there's clearly stuff that encourages you to explore, find keys, discover clues, and maybe even come back to places that you've already visited. I like that part. What I didn't like was the way that all this stuff was organized once I picked it up. I'd find a journal or collectible and pick it up, and then it'd be like, wait, where the hell did that thing go? And then I'm digging through menus trying to figure out where the game put it so I can read it, listen to it, or figure out if it was something that I actually needed or was important. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that I picked up during this first play session just seemed kinda pointless. Maybe some of it becomes important later, maybe there's something I'm missing, but right now, there's a big difference between, holy shit, this has the code that I need, and the collectible that I found that was called To My Followers, which was basically this influencer writing down all the shit that she would have posted if the internet still worked. She was worried about her 50,000 followers. 50,000. Bro, the zombie apocalypse could start tomorrow, and I'd still be trying to get to 100 subscribers. So yeah, some of these things were useful. Others, I'm not entirely sure why I was collecting them. But I did like that Dead Island 2 gave me reasons to poke around and explore. I just wish it did a better job of helping me understand what I'd found and why I should give a shit about it. So I do have a couple negatives with this game that I need to mention. The first one is about weapons. It was keeping the fucking things working. Weapon durability felt way too low. I'd find a weapon I liked, repair it, maybe spend some resources putting a mod on it, start beating the shit out of zombies, and seemingly 5 minutes later, didn't I just fucking fix this thing? And because weapons broke so quickly, I felt like I needed to carry a bunch of them at all times. That created another problem. In the middle of combat, I'm trying to switch between all these weapons, zombies are coming at me, and at least once, I dropped a weapon I didn't mean to drop and didn't even realize I'd done it. That combination, weapons breaking quickly and constantly switching between them, was probably the biggest mechanical annoyance I ran into during this first session. Now, there is weapon storage, so the game gives you somewhere to keep weapons you aren't carrying. I'll be honest, I didn't really figure out why I needed it yet. Maybe that becomes more useful later when I've got a collection of weapons I actually give a shit about keeping, but 4 hours in, I was mostly just trying to keep the ones in my hand from fucking breaking. So, remember when I said Dead Island 2 knows exactly what kind of game it is? Why does every fucking game have scrapping and crafting in it now? And here's the weird part. Dead Island 2's crafting isn't bad. It's actually pretty straightforward. You scrap for materials, break down stuff you don't need, find blueprints, and use a workbench to repair and modify your weapons or make consumables. I understood it. I had the materials I needed. It didn't stop me from enjoying the game. I just kept asking myself, why is it here? Because I like the weapon mods, I like finding blueprints. I'm just not convinced crafting is what makes either of those things fun. Is crafting supposed to make survival feel more real? Because we just established that I'm apparently surviving the zombie apocalypse by finding batteries conveniently sitting 5 feet from generators. I'm not exactly Bear Grylls here. And maybe later this changes. Maybe I'll find some incredible blueprint that requires some rare material and suddenly I'm searching everywhere because I need that fucking mod. I didn't get far enough to experience that. But during the first session, in my opinion, you could have just told me you found the blueprint. Electric mod unlocked. Want to put that on your machete? And I'm not sure I would have missed anything. I mean, scrapping isn't even difficult. I'm pressing a button. I don't know why it annoys me so much, but I'm starting to feel like crafting is showing up in every game because all of the other cool kids have crafting. And speaking of crafting, I spent forever looking for the last piece of scrap I needed to craft my first weapon. Couldn't fucking find it. Looked everywhere. Turns out it was sitting right next to the workbench. So maybe this one's on me. Overall, there's a lot I liked about Dead Island 2's game design. The weapon variety, mods, skill cards, environmental traps. The game clearly knows that if you're going to spend hours killing zombies, it needs to keep giving you new ways to do it. And I wanted to see more. More weapons, more mods, more skill cards, more zombie types, more ridiculous ways to kill them. But here's my concern. I could already feel some of the repetition creeping in during one play session. I'd walk into a room and there's one zombie. Walk down a hallway and there's another zombie. They're not really a threat. I know I'm going to kill them. They're basically just in my way. And after a while, those encounters started feeling less like combat and more like, all right, let me kill this asshole so I can keep going. That's where some of the repetition started creeping in for me. And that's why the weapons, mods, skill cards, and environmental kills mattered so much. Dead Island 2 needs those systems to keep finding new ways to make killing zombies interesting. And that includes the zombies themselves. I was already starting to run into different zombie types that changed how I had to fight them. And there are clearly a lot more that I haven't seen or discovered yet. So that's another thing that could help keep the combat from becoming repetitive. And then there's also that little bit of an identity crisis I kept feeling. On one hand, this is a ridiculous zombie game where I'm drop-kicking zombies, electrifying weapons, and turning groups of them into zombie barbecue. Amazing. Loved every second of it. But then on the other hand, you've got the scrapping, crafting, repairing weapons, and some of these environmental puzzles trying to add a layer of realism and survival to it. And I'm not sure Dead Island 2 needs to be realistic. Sometimes I just want you to give me a ridiculous weapon and point me toward the nearest zombie. So for game design, I'm giving Dead Island 2 3 out of 5 stars. There's plenty I liked here. I just need to see if it can stay fresh and interesting. Now that we've talked about all the different ways that Dead Island 2 lets you kill zombies, how does it actually feel to do it? Pretty damn good. The combat itself was easy to pick up. You've got your quick attacks, heavy attacks, dodge or block depending on your setup, plus whatever combat skills you pick up along the way. And none of it felt overly complicated. But where Dead Island 2 really got me was the kills. This game is fucking gruesome. Limbs come off, heads explode, zombies get absolutely mangled and maimed, and the damage you're doing actually shows up on them. And some of my favorite kills weren't even from weapons. If I knocked a zombie down, head stomp, yeah, that never got old. Then I started getting better with the defensive moves, land a well-timed block, and you can follow it with one of those brutal counter kills. Those became another one of my favorite ways to finish a zombie because, again, guaranteed kill. And when a zombie got the upper hand and grabbed me, I could fight my way out by mashing the button that showed up on the screen as a prompt to get out of trouble and turn the table. And none of this was difficult to execute, and I mean that as a compliment. I wasn't thinking about some ridiculous button combination while 5 zombies were trying to eat my face. I could just fight, and perhaps button mash a little bit, but Dead Island 2 could definitely kick my ass. My health felt like it could disappear really fast. There were times I had medkits and still died because by the time I realized how much trouble I was in, I was already dead. And the hordes were where things really changed. One zombie, whatever, he's an asshole. A whole group coming at me while I'm trying to manage my stamina, weapons, health, and everything else? Different story. And apparently Dead Island 2 also decided I wasn't allowed to get comfortable, because this game actually got me with a few jump scares. Fuck you. I did have one stupid little complaint. There are protein bars and energy drinks scattered everywhere that restore health, which is great, unless I'm already at full health. Then I'm standing there looking at perfectly good food that Ryan apparently can't put in his pocket. 5 minutes later, I'm getting my ass kicked and thinking, sure would be nice to have that protein bar right now. Let me take the damn thing with me. But overall, the combat was the star of this first session. It was responsive, easy to understand, ridiculously violent, and when I had several zombies coming at me, absolutely chaotic. And this is where my concern about repetition gets interesting. Because yeah, I was already starting to feel some of it. But then I'd pull off a perfect block and rip a zombie apart, launch one across the room with a drop kick, or stomp somebody's head into the pavement, or discover some completely new way to kill one, and I'd think, okay, that was pretty fucking cool. So the question for me isn't whether killing zombies is fun. It absolutely is. The question is whether Dead Island 2 can keep giving me enough new ways to do it that it's still this much fun 10 hours from now. And based on the first session, I do want to find out. So for gameplay, I'm giving Dead Island 2 4 stars. So taking a look at the scorecard, that's going to bring us to presentation. Presentation-wise, Dead Island 2 looks really damn good. LA is bright, colorful, and incredibly detailed, which is a cool contrast to all the blood and guts everywhere else. But the real star is the zombies. The damage, gore, and death animations are absolutely disgusting in the best possible way. I'm going 4 stars for presentation. And as for entertainment, this one's pretty easy. I had fun. I laughed, I got jump scared, I died a bunch, I launched zombies across the room, stomped a shitload of heads, and despite my concerns about repetition, when I stopped playing, I still wanted to see the next weapon, the next mod, the next zombie type. I wanted to keep playing, and that's kind of the fucking point. So we're gonna go 4 out of 5 stars for entertainment as well. So before I give my overall rating, I want to share my final thoughts on this game. It's not perfect, I'm concerned about the repetition, and apparently I'm going to continue bitching about crafting until video games stop making me scrap shit. But this game did the most important thing that it needed to do. It made killing zombies fun. For that reason, I'm giving Dead Island 2 an overall rating of 4 out of 5 stars. So would I play it again? Yes. I'm going to recommend this one, but just remember what you're signing up for. At its heart, Dead Island 2 is a zombie smasher. And with it leaving PlayStation Plus Premium in just a few days, yeah, give it a shot while you still can for free. Anyways, those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. And of course, subscribing is always appreciated. Until next time, OG out.